Hello everybody, welcome to this session and thank you for joining. My name is Andrea Martorana Tusa. I am from Italy and I am team manager in BI. I am working in BI for more than 20 years and I am a MVP for data platform, and currently I'm running the BI team into a company called Virt Phoenix. It's a company of the Virt Group. We offer IT services to both internal and external customers. And I'm a usual speaker in many events worldwide, SQL Saturdays, community-driven events, whatever. Today, we are going to talk about a real case of integration using Power Platform tools, using Teams, Power Automate, and Power BI. This is something we built up mainly for internal use to fill some gaps in our infrastructure. And we are rolling it out on several customers who are interested in this kind of solution. Through the Power Platform tools, you can achieve easily integration mainly between using flows between the several tools. Just want to present this experience for hopefully giving you some inspiration about it. So let's start with Teams. I'm not spending much time in introducing Teams. I hope that everybody knows it. Just the Microsoft tool for communication, for shared work, customizing your workspaces, keep your team secure. But I want to focus on how we are using Teams. We are using Teams internally for communication, of course, calls, chats. But we also started using Teams as a main repository for all our documents, for everything related to projects, so file sharing, co-editing, but also we are trying to build up a knowledge-based history in Teams, because one of our main issues was to store all the information we had about our projects, the history, how we created something, how we approached the issues, how we fixed the issues, all this kind of stuff. So the idea was to centralize everything so that everybody knows where to look for common solutions. How did somebody from the team solved an issue and all this kind of stuff, mainly using and also project documentation, mainly using Onenote and Wiki, because I didn't mention it, but I assume you know, in Teams there are several external apps, both from Microsoft and external vendors, that can be integrated into Teams. So again, the idea was to use Teams as the main container, basically as a container, connecting to all the apps we needed for our daily job. And the last point, and this is what I'm focusing mainly today, was the project management. How to use Teams for project management. We are, and usually the customers we are working together are medium, small companies. They don't need a big project management tool like the DevOps, for instance. We use it only when we are working together with the development team. But internally, we looked for something more agile. So the choice was to use Planner, and we are also using some other project management tools like Trello, Jira, whatever you can think about, because all these components can be integrated into Teams. So what we usually do is to create a channel for every project, for every customer, sharing the channel to the customer. So we have a common area shared to the customer where we both can find out everything related to the project, and we also can find out all the tasks, activities, who is doing what, all this kind of stuff. It depends on the customer. It depends on the license mainly. If they want to use Planner, they want to use Trello or some other project management tools. So that was the idea behind, and now we are focusing mainly on Planner. Don't know if you have experienced Planner. It's a very simple project management tool. You can basically organize, schedule your project activities, and of course it's fully integrated in Teams. We choose Planner again because it's easier to use together with the customer, and we don't need a complex tool. Basically, as a manager, I need to know who is doing what time, status of the task, and I have to check for allocating resources on several projects. And Planner mostly suited that needs. So what I find out good for my job in Planner was this kind of Kanban interface. You can have groups and of course members. You can create buckets, so the categories for your tasks to be started, ongoing, customer feedback, released, whatever you need. You can create, add comments. You can add due date to your task, all this kind of stuff. So you can have an overview about the project's status. What I am missing in task, there are several limitations because Planner is quite simple again, and it's quite limited as well. You have only two views: the Kanban interface, the calendar view, but the calendar view is very poor, is very limited. Don't like it. I'm not using it actually. No timelines in the calendar view, no Gantt, and you cannot prioritize the tasks and subtasks. And this is what I'm mainly missing. You cannot have a general overview of all ongoing tasks and activities for the team. So unless you as a manager are involved in all the tasks, you cannot have a general view about who is doing what. And of course this is a big limitation from my point of view. So we overcome this limitation using Power BI, for instance, and I will show you how. And the other point was the missing Gantt view. Again, if you read all the tasks Planner to Power BI, you can then use a custom visual in Power BI, a Gantt custom visual, so you can have your Gantt easily in Power BI. So through the Power Platform tools, we achieved integration. So we overcame these limitations from Teams, performing some integration between Teams, Power BI, and other planner, using a flow, some flows behind the scenes. The main point for us, it's the CRM. We have an old version of CRM. This is an on-premises release for our CRM. But the entry point for every task and activity we have into the company is a CRM case. So customer open cases in CRM, and then we are assigned to the tasks. It means that basically, if you have the to create the task in CRM, and then you want to create the task in Teams for the project management, you have to double entry the data, one time in CRM and second time in Teams. But what we did was a Power Automate flow for synchronization between the CRM and Teams. Every time a case is added, updated, changed into the CRM, a Power Automate flow starts and creates a task in Planner, into the in the Planner embedded in Teams. Second point was the direct integration of the project management apps in Teams. As I mentioned before, you can directly call a Planner, Trello app directly into Teams. And the last point was this overview, general overview that I needed. We achieved it by reading all the tasks, status, users, whatever, from Planner, Trello, through, again, a Power Automate flow, writing to a SharePoint list. Actually, in production, we are writing to a SQL Server database, but for this demo, it's easier to use a SharePoint list. So we are writing in a couple of SharePoint lists, and we are reading all the tasks and assigned users from SharePoint using Power BI. So using Power BI, I can create the general overview I need, and I can do whatever I want using Power BI. So this is the main schema behind, and this, as I mentioned, we usually use a Planner in co-working with our customers, but for more complex projects where some development is involved, we have a development team. They develop in AX, Dynamics 365. So in case the development team is involved, there is a big development project in Dynamics AX before us, we can replace these apps with DevOps. So we are reading data through the DevOps directly, integrating DevOps into Teams, or reading work items from DevOps to through Power Automate. Depends on the management tool that we are using. Sometimes you maybe DevOps is just a part of the puzzle. So again, through Flow, Power Automate, maybe you need to pull out data from different data sources and then combine them together in one repository that could be either SharePoint, SQL Server, or whatever you want, and then mash up and read everything through Power BI. Okay, quite easy. Okay, once called Flow, now it's Power Automate. So using Power Automate, again, what we are doing, because our CRM is on premises, so there is no direct automation in Power Automate. There's a trigger inside the CRM database. When a new case is created into the CRM database, a Power Automate flow starts and writes into a Teams channel. Into the Teams channel there is a planner that is updated, a task planner that is updated, because actually what you can do is sending an email to a Teams channel, because every time you create a new channel in Teams, you have an email for this channel. So we are sending email to the channel related to the customer. It means that we have to build a Power Automate flow for every customer. As many customers, as many channels we have. Every customer as a channel. We are sending email to the customer's channel, and a new task in Teams is created. Then from Teams and Planner we want to read from Planner writing into SharePoint. We want to know the tasks, status, users, and due dates. Are we on time? Are we overdue? Whatever we need to know. Writing writing into SharePoint, reading through a Power Automate flow, and then reading the list, SharePoint list from Power BI. What I think the biggest challenge was to achieve behind the scenes the integration between Teams and Planner, because they have different levels and also different naming. What is called team in Teams is a group in Planner, and there are it was quite complex to match the different structures, because we have a team in Teams. So in Teams, once you start a customer, you are creating a team, but inside the teams there are channels, and inside your team must be at least one channel. In Planner the structure is deeper. You have the group that matches the team, and the ID is the same. Then in Planner you have the plans that matches the channel, but you have more levels. So you have the bucket. The bucket is the status. You can do you can give the name you prefer to your bucket. It's we use usually the status, as I mentioned, to be started, ongoing, customer feedback, and then you have the tasks. Task is the activity. Inside the task you can define the status, started, completed, and some comments, some dates, blah blah blah. But the structure was different, so we had to figure out how to match these different levels of structure. And of course, there are users assigned to both these words, so we have to match the users between the two different environments as well. Okay, so I think the introduction it's over, so let's start with some demos. I show you how to create a simple flow for reading data from the for creating the task starting from the CRM email, and then we will see how to pull the data from Planner and how to write into Sharepoint for reading this data using Power BI. So let's move on to the demo. This is my Teams. This is my work Teams. Here I have a demo team that I called automation with flow. The other teams are related to the real customers. I cannot show you, so I have this demo team. As you see, into once you create your team, the at least you have to you got to have at least one channel. All these areas are called channels, and by default there is always the general channel. The general channel is created by default, and then you can create all the channels you want. Every channel has an email. So if you go here, you see general get email address. For every channel you have an email, so you can write to the channel. And here you have the list of the activities that happened inside your team. These are all tests made by us. Again, I cannot show you real customers example, so we can have this demo area. Into our teams we added a SharePoint page. We added a notebook. We added the planner. We'll get back to it later on. And if you click on the plus, you can add all the apps you want. So you see these all these apps are directly embedded into Teams, and the list is constantly growing, so you can easily with one click add all these apps directly into Teams. So we added this planner area. You have the buckets, and you can personalize the buckets. You can customize your buckets. So we just need only 4 buckets, depending on the task's status. But you can create your you can add a new bucket. You can name it the way you want, accordingly to your way of working, how you are used to. Okay, so let me go to my team. Let's see, where is it? Okay, so this is my team, automation with flow, and this is my channel, general. So let me get my email. I need the email address from this channel. Copy. And what I'm going to do is no, sorry, I need to create my flow before. So this is what my team's setup, and then I need to set up a flow, because what I want to do is every time a new CRM case is added, I need to create tasks automatically inside my teams. So let's move on to Power Automate. This is my Power Automate environment, and I want to create a triggered flow, because the flow is triggered by an event. The event is an email. So an email is sent, and every time an email is sent, just add a new task to a channel. Let's create an automated flow. Let's call it create a new plan, no, sorry, a new planner task. What kind of trigger I need? I want a Teams trigger. So Teams. Again, Teams. Okay. So when a new channel message is added, because every time I send an email to my channel, a new channel message is added. Let's create it. Okay, so when a new channel message is added, the team, I need to specify my team, and my team is, as you see, this is the list of the teams I have in my teams environment. And inside this team automation with flow, I have my channels. In this case, I only have one channel. Let me remind you that first step actually is to create a connection. So what you need before building your custom flow is having a connection. So the first step, if you are not connected to your Teams, to your SharePoint, into your environment, you need to create a connection. So as you can see here, I have many connections, because of course there are different environment data sources that I am integrating with Power Automate. So in this case, I need a connection to SharePoint, and this is the connection that I'm using, and I need a connection to Planner for making all these layout working. Okay, let's get back to my flow. Okay, so the team is automation with flow, and he knows that I am connected to my Phoenix environment. Automation with flow, I have all my teams here, I have the channel, and that's fine. Then, okay, so when a new channel message is added, what to do? Let's add a new step, and the new step is a planner step. So if I'm looking for planner, see, I have a lot of actions available for planner. What I want to do in this case is create a new task. So every time a new channel message is added, please, in Planner, create a new task. Okay, and now, as you can see, the language is a bit different, because the as I mentioned before, that was one of the most challenging steps. The structure is different. Maybe I will show you again in a minute. So I have a group ID here, and the group ID actually is the name of my teams. But this is the planner ID that is the same with the team ID, and inside the teams I have a plan. I created a planner inside the teams. So this is the name of my planner inside teams. And then I want to put a title. The title can be dynamic. So the title, for instance, could be the name of the subject of the email. I'm sending an email, so I want to create dynamically the title of my case, of my task, just reading the subject, the message subject. The bucket ID, this is optional, as you can see. I have 4 buckets. By default, I want to put this in to do. So it's just into the starting bucket. And the start date time could be the message date time. So the email from the CRM as an attribute property is the created date time. So I want to create the start date time for my task is the creation date time for my message. The due date time, I usually do not define a due date time. This step may be after talking with the customer, or maybe it depends on our SLA, the level of agreements we have to the customer. And this is optional. This is the user, the team member who is assigned to the task. If I know that for one customer there is only there are always 1 or 2 referral, I can put down. Otherwise, I can leave it blank and then assign by end depending on the resources allocations, whatever. In this case, let's say I'm assigning the task to me, so I'm putting down, typing down my email address. So the task is directly assigned to me. Okay, let's save my task, my flow, and that's fine. Let's save again. Okay, so my flow is created. Now it's time to test my flow, and let's see what happens. So what I'm gonna do now is I have an email. Let's say this is a real real life example. Let's say we have a job that is pending, still running for whatever reason, so we have some alerts on it. Let's say that we have a job that is still running, and so we are creating a case for it, and somebody is assigned to this task. So I copy and paste the address for my team automation with flow, and I'm sending the email. As a consequence of the email, a new the email is posted here, as you can see. So the email has been posted to the channel, and it takes some time, so we have to wait few couple of minutes maybe. It takes some time, but a new task is created as a consequence of this activity, because we are posting a new email into the channel, and this is exactly what my flow is doing. So when a new channel message is added, create a task. Just during the wait, I would like to show you again this structure, because I think maybe now it's clearer. So we have a team. Inside the team we have channels, and embedding a planner into teams. We have the main container, that is the team, and then we have the plan, and the plan is what I called here inside the planner. So this is the plan is called automation planner. And then we have the buckets, and then we have the tasks. So the buckets and the tasks. It's still running. We have to wait. I demoed it many times, and every time it takes some time to create this task. But here we go. As you can see here, I have my task created, and the task execution for job BI update running has been created today, and it's assigned to me. I can either remove me or add new users, whatever you want, but the task has been created automatically, and it's assigned to me. And then if let's say I'm taking over this task, I want to start working on this task, so I can change the bucket. I can say the task is in progress, and maybe I can set up a due date, because this is an urgent request, so maybe I have to deliver it by let's say tomorrow. And that's all. So I have my task, and the automation is completed. And that was the first point. If you remember my schema, that was the first point. That was the synchronization between CRM and Teams using Power Automate. Then we have another Power Automate, and here into my Sharepoint list I have no, sorry, this is the next step. Sorry, I have to do it later. Sorry. So this is my first flow. Then the next flow is reading the data from Teams, from Planner, embedded in Teams, and writing all this data into Sharepoint for the purpose of readability with Power BI. So what I'm going to do is I have no time for building a new flow from scratch. I just show you how the second flow is looking like. And this is my second flow. So my second flow is a flow that reads all the data from Planner, and writes down the tasks into Sharepoint. For this demo, the flow is manually triggered. I run it by hand, but actually this flow is scheduled, so we run it couple of times per day. And what we are doing here is reading tasks. So the step is planner, and the action inside planner is reading tasks. Read from which group, automation with flow, from which plan, automation planner, list the tasks for the plan. This step is coming from the previous one. So I have to dynamic create a value here, read the value, so the content, from this list, from the list of tasks inside this planner. This is a loop, as you can see, because of course there could be many tasks inside the same plan. There could be a lot of tasks, so the flow needs to loop through all the tasks. And there is also another loop, because here I have the assigned member. So for every task I could have many people assigned to this task. So I have to loop externally for the tasks, and then inside every task I have to loop for all the people assigned to this task, just pulling out the ID of the assigned member. The next step is to create an item into a Sharepoint list. So this is my Sharepoint address. I have a list called planner tasks, and then I can dynamically assign contents to my list. I have okay, the title, that is mandatory, then task ID, task name, that is the content. If I have a start date, I have a due date, if I defined one, the percent of execution for the task. You see here I have I'm reading from this task, and these are the values I'm reading. Not started is 0%, 50%, 100%. And the assigned user ID. Here I have the user ID of the member of my team who has assigned the task. Then what I want to do is fetching, is matching this user ID. So let me show, maybe it's clearer. So here I have my planner list of tasks reading from planner into Sharepoint. This is my Sharepoint list. I have the ID for the task, the K, the task name, so the subject of the email mainly, start date, due date, if any, the percent, and the assigned user ID. This is the ID of the team member who is working on this task. So I want to know who this person is, and I'm doing it I'm doing it by looping again into my Sharepoint list, and using another flow, another step from flow. I'm using this property, get user profile. This is an Office 365 property. I read the user ID, assigned user ID, and from this get user profile, from the ID I can say, okay, This is the name from my user and the email from my user. So actually I'm creating two lists because my other list is this one. I have two lists, the tasks and the users. So for every user, this is the list of the team members, me and some other colleagues. This is the ID, my ID, and this is my name, and this is my email, and this is what I'm pulling through this get user profile action from Office 365 inside Flow, inside Power Automate. Last step is reading everything from Power BI. Let's say that and pulling everything together. Okay, so get data from SharePoint list. SharePoint online list. No. Why? Okay, this is my Office work account. Let's see. Okay. Password. Okay, let's connect. Okay. I have my two lists, planner tasks and planner users. I load these lists into my Power BI and I need to create a relationship between the user's assigned user ID and the user ID, and then I can okay, I know it's many to many, I know, but for the sake of simplicity, okay, let's do it simpler, and then I can create my tasks as I here already did. So I have my list of tasks, the total tasks completed, open, and then I can check status. I can filter by member, I can filter by tasks, due date, whatever you want. And then, as I mentioned before, you do not have a native Gantt chart in Power BI, but you can use custom visual from the app source There is a Gantt, and then so you can also create a Gantt diagram into your Power BI. Okay, I cannot find it, but there is, because I'm using it. There is a Gantt here, so you can create your and use your Gantt for monitoring the status of your tasks. Okay, thank you very much for attending. Just if you want to reach out to me, these are my contacts. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to have interaction for all people. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the conference.